You wake up, and no one knows the weight you're carrying. You smile, and no one sees how broken you feel. You keep moving, and the world keeps assuming you're fine. But behind closed doors, it's different. There's a heaviness in your chest that doesn't go away. You've mastered the art of pretending, laughing just enough, nodding when expected, showing up so no one asks questions, but no one really sees you, because your battle isn't loud. It's not made of shouting or tears. It's made of quiet resilience, of showing up when everything inside you screams to stay down, of holding yourself together when it would be easier to fall apart. You've had to become your own anchor, your own voice of reason, your own source of hope. And you've done it without applause, without someone telling you, "I'm proud of you," without a shoulder to lean on. But here's the truth no one tells you. Walking alone doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're strong enough to keep going, even when no one walks with you. There's something sacred in that kind of strength, something unshakable. Because when you face the darkness alone, and you're still here, you've already proven something most people never will. You don't need the world to see your pain to survive it. You just need to remember. Your quiet strength is still strength, and you're not weak for walking alone. They didn't show up when you needed them most, and for a while, you waited. Waited for someone to notice the cracks. Waited for someone to say, "I see you, I'm here." But no one came. So you learned something few ever do. How to become the strength you were searching for. It wasn't a heroic moment. There was no music swelling in the background, no sudden clarity, just one small, quiet choice. To get back up. Again. That's the part people don't understand. They think strength is loud, bold, obvious, but real strength, it's silent, it's messy, it's built in empty rooms with no witnesses. You learn to dry your own tears, to steady your own breath when panic rose, to carry yourself through. Days so heavy they nearly broke you, and even though it felt unfair, even though you screamed in the dark asking, "Why me?" you kept moving, because some part of you, deep down, refused to be destroyed. That part is still alive. You didn't just survive loneliness. You transformed in it, because when no one else showed up, you did, and that matters more than you know. You're not fragile, you're forged. Tested by silence, tempered by disappointment, made solid by everything you had to face alone. And now, you're not just walking, you're carrying the wisdom that only solitude can give. So the next time you feel unseen, remember, you became your own hero. And that's not weakness, that's power. There were nights when the silence was too loud, when your own thoughts felt like enemies, when the weight of everything you couldn't say nearly crushed you, and yet, you didn't let it. You've walked through storms no one even saw, smiled, while falling apart inside, held yourself together in front of others, then shattered when the door closed behind you. There were moments you wanted to give up, not because you were weak, but because carrying everything alone is exhausting. You questioned your worth. You wondered if the pain would ever end. And sometimes, it felt like the darkness was winning. But here's what the darkness didn't know. It was building something in you. Every breakdown taught you how to rebuild. Every lonely night made you stronger in ways comfort never could. You weren't just surviving the pain. You were evolving in it. Because sometimes, when everything is stripped away, when there's no one left to call, no hand to reach for, no voice to say, "Keep going," that's when you finally hear your own. The voice that says, "I am still here." And that voice matters, because it wasn't born out of ease or praise. It came from the deepest part of you, the part that refuses to quit, the part that still believes there's something more ahead, even when today hurts like hell. So if you're still walking alone, know this. You've already conquered the worst parts, and the fact that you're still standing, that's not luck. That's proof of who you are, unseen, unshaken, unbreakable. You've been walking this path with no map, no guide, and no guarantee. Yet somehow, your feet keep moving. That's not weakness. That's not survival mode. That's resilience in its purest form. Because when life tried to break you, you didn't break. You bent, you burned, you bled. But you stood. And in standing, you became something most people never understand. Someone who doesn't need validation to know their value. Someone who's been to the edge and learned how to hold their own hand. Someone who can face silence without folding under it. People will wonder how you do it, how you keep going without support, how you smile without reason, how you stand tall with no one at your back. But you'll know the truth. You walk alone. Not because you're lost, not because you've been abandoned, but because you've discovered what it means to belong to yourself. And that kind of power, it doesn't need noise, it doesn't need permission, it doesn't beg to be seen, because when you've walked through your own hell, you don't need the world to understand your fire. So keep walking, even when the path is quiet, even when the wind bites and the night stretches long, because you're not walking in weakness. You're walking in proof that you are more than what tried to break you. And if today no one claps for you, if no one says they're proud, let this be the moment you realize you are the storm they never saw coming.